and Diamond
Right.
Rise, body. Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey, hey, hey. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Freedom Friday. This is your girl, Miss Q, aka Apostle Q, BKA Quinetta Thomas, your mind whisperer, President and CEO of Diamonds in the Rough, Diamond Dynasty, and Diamond Graphics. Y'all come on in. Y'all come on in. As you can see, as you can see, we have a treat. We have a special, special, special guest who truly, really doesn't need an introduction. But we're gonna do diligence on tonight. Hello, somebody. So you all come on in, come on in, come on in, and tag five people, please. Don't be stingy with the share button on tonight. Tag five people, like,
That's right.
comment, and share. And if you're watching on YouTube, please don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe, okay? And don't forget to hit the bell notification so that you can be notified every single time we go live.
That's right.
Hey y'all. I want to say hi to you. So when you coming in, I want you to comment and tell me where you watching from. All right, y'all. So I can acknowledge you so we can be interactive because this is an interactive space. All right.
Right.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Hey, Deanna. How you doing? How you doing? Y'all make sure, listen. We about to get some jewels. Okay? We about to get some juice. So I need y'all to tag five people, and I need y'all to like, comment, and share. I promise you, y'all are in for a treat tonight. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So let me go ahead and do my. If you want to be featured on Freedom Friday, please send your submissions to DITRINTL Corp at gmail.com. All right, y'all. Or you can just inbox me because I do check my messages, or you could just write it in the comment section because I do check all my comments. All right, y'all. And I cannot move forward until I give a major shout out to my brothers, Jacob Anderson, Eddie Jones, and also Pebbles 810 Studios, 95 South Podcast for putting your girl on the map. I am truly grateful. There are not enough words to truly express how grateful I am for you all. I know you're watching. If you're not watching live, I know you catching the playback. I love y'all. Hey, how y'all doing? How you doing? How are you? How are you? So really quick, like before we even get into the introduction of this amazing human being I got right over here beside me, you all are aware, I'm sure, and if you're not aware, my spiritual mother has just transitioned. Um, and it's been, very challenging for me. So I want to pay a small tribute to her, just to acknowledge her, and yeah, I just want to pay homage to mama, to my mama. All right, y'all. So uh also pray for her family,
That's right.
pray for all of her spiritual children, especially her children, especially her husband, her ministry, her because she was also a part of Delta. She was a Delta as well. So pray for everyone that is connected to her because this is a very trying time for us all. So if y'all could please, send up a prayer for all of us, it would be greatly appreciated. All right.
Do a little shift because this is what the Holy Spirit right now in our school system, in our society, in this world, mental health
Mm-hmm.
is just overwhelmingly taking over, people lives, people
Yes.
families. And
Yes.
what I would like parents and people to know that the very core of mental illness is basically a misunderstanding of God's plan for people's lives.
Woo! Come on
Okay, when
here.
they have all this energy that's misdirected and misinterpreted, then we start programming them from a child that what they're doing is inappropriate. So as it go on, God is speaking to them in the spiritual realm, and we take it as if that because it don't fit society understanding, we say that they're crazy. We say that, you know, there's a chemical balance. Yeah, there's a chemical balance that's going on, but it's because their energy frequencies is not of the normal, because he has plucked them
Ooh,
out for something
Jesus.
special to do.
Come on, come on, come
And
on,
if
come on.
we could just take a step back and really look at, take time with everybody as an individual, because I told you about the DMA, and just work with that person based on where they are, and stop, you know, saying because you're doing this, there's something wrong with you. Because you see something like this, there's something wrong with you. And try to teach children, people, babies, whatever, to channel that energy in a way that's productive.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for that moment, for allowing me that moment. I appreciate y'all for that. We love you, Mom. We appreciate everything that you've done for us. I see my sis on here. Hi, Izzy. I love you, sister. So I'm going to move along because I don't want to get all in my feelings right now. I got to keep it cute. I can't be. I can't be. I cannot. So, sir, please, please, you all. I want to see some hearts in the chat right now. I want to see some love in the chat right now for this amazing brother that is right beside me, Mr. Antwan D. Smith.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for honoring little old me. Little old
Uh,
me with your presence. You have no idea how grateful I am for you being on here with us. Like, seriously, all jokes aside, I'm so grateful to you. And
Thank
I want, because you know, your resume is a little bit extensive.
you. Yeah,
Your resume is a little bit long. So, all right, I'm going to ask that you please, because
yeah,
I mean, like I said, you don't need an introduction, but just
right.
for the sake of introductions, could
Nah.
you please tell the people who you are and what you've done on this planet Earth?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on your show. I'm a fan, as you know, I watch, and I love the messaging you put out there. I love the content that you putting out there, and that the topics that you're engaging with people. And I want to extend my condolences to you losing your spiritual mom, of course.
Thank
And
you.
you're surrounded by love. Everybody got you. You good.
Yes,
But
I
yeah, I'm Antwan Smith, director, producer, sometimes screenwriter, and father, friend, and you know, um, I'm just a humble guy. Been put in some fortunate positions, and I just thank God for everything I
oh yeah. You know, he trying to be modest.
have.
I just want y'all to know he's trying to be modest, but this is not something. This is not small time. You understand what I'm saying? This is not small time. This is a big hitter that I have on. Listen, when I say I'm honored, like for real, for real, I'm not just saying. I'm really, really honored. Like this gentleman has had the
Thank
pleasure
you.
of working with like Rick Ross and Trick Daddy, and I can name so many people. So don't let him
Mhm.
pretend like he's just in the corner somewhere,
Yeah.
twiddling his thumbs. No,
Hey,
no,
hey,
no, no.
hey,
Not gonna go.
well, you left out Jay Z and Diddy too
I forgot
now.
Jay Z and Diddy.
Since you
You know,
named the
might as
name.
well just throw that in there. Just little
Yeah.
razzle dazzle.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I have to say it
Nah,
again. I have to say it
nah.
again. So really, really quickly, I want to know. Um, Let me start with this.
Yeah, go
Based
ahead.
on what she was saying, my spiritual mother, Francine
Yeah.
Thompson. Based on what she was saying, what was your take on what she said?
Well, my thing is this. You know, we just need to be. We need to be good to each other. We need to be appreciative. Of one another and what we have, and you know, I think even for the people, they not everybody believe in a higher power, but even if it's a spiritual force in your life, you know, I'm trying to find the words. Even if you don't believe in a higher power, but you got some kind of spiritual presence in your life, I would say, I would say, draw close to that. And it's going to open up doors that you will never know will open up for you. And you know, having friends is important, having your family is important, and being appreciative for the things that you have and the things that we can experience in life while we're here, is very important. And that's some of the things I took from that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What I took from it is we shouldn't be so quick to label people.
that too. Yeah,
We shouldn't be so quick to label people. And I'm saying we because I am not exempt.
yeah, right,
I am not exempt. And I'm starting to realize more and more, especially with a lot of things that's going on in my personal life, that
right,
we have a tendency to just look at a person and pass judgment,
yep,
not really understanding what their side is of the
that's right,
situation. And I'm constantly asking God to help me to keep in mind that I wasn't always where I am.
right,
You
right.
understand what I'm saying? Like I wasn't, praise God. I wasn't always
I hear you. I hear you.
I wasn't always polished. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So and this is what I loved so much about her. I love the fact that she always found a way of looking at the bright side of something.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like being
yeah,
able to, no matter how bad a situation is or how ugly, you might complain about it for a hot second, but just finding a way to shift your energy, and it's so powerful
yeah.
that being able to shift your energy is such a powerful tool because you really change the trajectory of your life when you can
You
do
do.
that. When you
Yeah,
sit in negativity and you sit in woe is me, and you sit in and
yeah.
every situation has due cause. Like when you grieve and you grieve it
Yes,
is what it is. There's
yes.
nothing that you can really do about that.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? I heard somebody tell me, a really important person to me said, I wipe my face and I keep it moving.
All
I
right.
have
I
my
like
moment.
that.
Yeah, I
I
have
like
my
that.
moment and I keep it moving. And I get that because I'm going through it now. I have my moments. I let it all out. If I got to kick, scream, cuss, whatever, I let it all out, wipe
Good.
my face, and I keep it moving. But just being able, like she had a gift to just being able to take anything and changing the tone of it,
That's good.
to have you
Really
looking at it
good.
from a different perspective.
Yeah, that's
You
good.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And my grandmother, she was like that person in my life. She's not with us anymore, but that's who she was to me. And
Yeah.
and before she passed, of course, she kind of raised me for the second half of my life. She tried to instill those values and that knowledge on me as well. And when you're young, you listen. You don't always hear it, but you
Right.
listen. But
Right.
those same lessons I was halfway hearing, you know, 10, 15, 20 years later, she was absolutely right. And it resonated on me. And I only could wish I could have a conversation with her now and be like,
Yeah.
you know what, Grandma, you was right.
Right.
Absolutely right. You know,
I don't like it, but you
yeah,
was right.
absolutely.
You was right. You can have
Yeah.
it. You was right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
I was going to say too, and one thing about, our human journey is too, is like, look, a lot of us, at least our generation, I would like to think, we raised up on television and we kind of emulate a lot of things that we saw on TV. And of course, the saying is, some of your values and the things that you learn in life kind of come from your family too. And
Right.
in my family, I got a big family and mostly men. So a lot of things I learned in life is from a man's perspective. Now I had my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother and the kind of guide me, and give me another perspective. But I had a lot of men show me a lot of things, which weren't always the right thing. And then I grew up,
Right.
yeah. So I picked up on a lot of habits,
Okay.
and I grew up in the MTV age. I'm growing up on rap videos. I'm watching um, people portrayed a certain different way. I'm watching guys that they treat women. I'm watching this and that. So it's easy to really soak in those things, and then it's kind of hard to differentiate what's right and what's wrong until you start to get older and you start to realize, how to treat somebody good or how to respect somebody good or what's right or what's wrong sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. went too far. You done tapped in. You done
What?
tapped all the way in.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I'm just
I'm
saying.
just playing with you. I'm
Yeah, I
just
know.
playing.
I know.
Okay, so when you hear the phrase,
Yeah,
when you hear the phrase from ashes to diamonds, what
yeah.
how does that resonate with you? What do you think, feel, hear when you hear that phrase from ashes to diamonds?
It's just the diamonds. I'm gonna ask you about that. But when I do hear it, just off the cuff, it sounds like something that's rising up from the grit, from the dirt to something special. And I can kind of see how that can translate in real life.
Yes,
So that's what I get from it.
yes,
That's what I get from it.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
So tell me about it. Like you came
I
up with
knew
that.
you was gonna go there.
Yeah. Hmm.
I knew you was gonna go there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the,
Tell me
the
about it.
the phrase from ashes to diamonds comes from my nonprofit organization's
Okay.
name, Diamonds in the Rough,
Okay.
and it's just what it means, diamonds in the rough. Because a lot of people who don't know the history
Yeah.
don't know that diamonds come from volcanoes, and
You
when
know.
the volcanoes,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and when the volcanoes erupt, the
Yeah.
miners go get the coals because that's what they're
It's in the
what they
code that I know.
use. Yep, they take the coals, they chip the coals,
Yeah.
and after they chip the coals, they dust it off, clean it off, and then
Yeah.
the diamond is produced. But even
Yeah.
after the diamond is produced,
Yeah.
they set it back on fire again,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So it was really God who gave me that name. And
Okay.
when I read the history of how a diamond is produced, it
Right.
resonated with me so much so because that was me.
Right.
That was my life. Going through
Wow.
hell
Wow.
over, over and over again,
Wow.
only to emerge, only to go through some more hell, only
Yep.
to emerge, only to go
Yeah.
through some more hell. And
Oh yeah.
I didn't comprehend that it was a part of my process and it was
Right.
necessary.
Right.
When I was going through it, it hurt so bad that I couldn't comprehend how God was allowing me to go through what I was going through, but it was necessary because the people that I had to impact, the people that He assigned to me, I had to be touched by the feelings of their infirmities. In other words,
Okay.
I had to go through what they've gone through so that I could have compassion for them and not
Okay.
judge them. So I went through some stuff now. I just look
Boy.
like this. I just
Boys.
look like this. When I tell
Boy.
you, I mean, I went through some stuff. I mean, I was in the hood. I
Yeah.
was
Right.
hanging with the hoodlums. I was
Right.
affiliated and
Right.
intertwined, with certain groups.
Right. That's fine.
So
It's
doing
part of your
certain
journey.
things.
Hmm.
Say it again.
That's it. Was just part of your journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I'm noticing now is that the people that God sends to me are those kind of people.
You're right. That's
They're
good.
the ones that He sends
Good.
to me because I can relate to them.
That's right.
I can speak to them. So when I hear from ashes to diamonds, that's what I hear. What you just said, going
Right.
from grit, like,
Yeah.
because it was gritty.
Right.
Oh,
That's
glory.
right.
It was gritty. But then I'm watching even me, myself. I look back and I have somebody here that has watched me in my process. They can
Okay.
attest that where God has brought me from, it makes no sense.
Right.
Only He could have did it. I'm telling you.
Amen to that.
I'm telling
Right.
you.
Listen, I'm just I love to hear stories like that because you know people have a decision. You can stay that course, or
Yes.
you can decide, make a conscious decision that you are going to lift yourself out that dirt and you're going to make a change and shine. And you actually chose that. And the problem is, some people feel like they don't have a choice sometimes, and
Yes.
it could, and they're just a product of their environment. Like I say, I grew up in the hood too, and I was exposed to a lot of things, but I will say I did have a family. I had a father who never abandoned me. He's been by my side my entire life and made sure I went to school and everything. And I had my grandmother. I had my uncles. Although they were street dudes, they made sure I wasn't a street dude.
Right.
And
Right.
so sometimes it do take a family or take some support to keep you on that straight path. So I'm glad everything worked out for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask rather.
Yeah.
Because you said something and it's
Hmm.
resonating with me. You said sometimes
Yeah.
people don't feel like they have a choice.
Yes.
Why do you think that is? Though why do we feel like we're so boxed in that there is no way out?
Because, I know, let me give you an example. I watch a lot of MSNBC. That's probably 85% of my programming. Believe it or not, I watch world news all day long when I'm
Okay.
not working. And I notice politicians, they make a lot of decisions for people whose shoes they never walked in their life. For
Right.
poor people and people with problems, people gay or straight, whatever. And my thing is, if these guys came down here, we had Joe Biden really come down to the hood and really hang out with somebody for a 24-hour period or maybe a week, you'll see why some people feel like they don't have a choice. When you grow up, in a crazy environment, I do believe you kind of become a part of that environment. If all you grow up and you see is crime, or you grow up in poverty, and this is all you know, nobody's really telling you, well, you're poor, but if you just get a 2.80 GPA, whatever it is now, you can still go to college and you can potentially get a job that pays you 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 grand a year, and you'll never be poor again. But if you don't have that messaging from the people around you, and all you see is drugs, and all you see is what you see on
Right.
TV,
It's normal.
it's a trap that you can't get out of. And I just do feel sometimes it's not always the person's fault, because if this is what you grew up seeing, this is what you know.
Right. It
You
becomes like
know,
second nature to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the point I was trying to make. But we are human beings, we are grown, and I just strongly believe sometimes it do take a helping hand from somebody to guide somebody out of that straightforward thinking, or that haze that they might be in. Mhm.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, let's go a little deeper.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Let's
definitely.
go a little deeper. So, you have accomplished so much. You've
Hmm.
done so much. You've encountered some of the most prestigious people. And like we were talking about backstage, I feel like when it comes to people of your status
Yeah,
that have walked in the shoes that you've walked in, the only thing that people care about is, what you've done.
yeah,
Your accolades, your accomplishments, what award, what academy this, what superstar this.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I feel like we don't get to know you all for who you are. We don't get to know, we know the star. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
Right,
Because that's what appeases us.
right,
But we never take the opportunity to get to know who you are as a human being, or
right,
even what you've struggled with, or what you've had to overcome just to be who you are.
right.
So if you could just give us, a backdrop of
Yeah,
as far as you want to go,
yeah,
okay, of what it took, what you've experienced, what you've suffered, because someone may be
right,
aspiring to do great things, and they need
right.
to understand that it comes with a process.
Yeah,
And just
absolutely.
because you see these people in lights and in the Hollywood billboards or the New York Times Square billboards, like they have a story too. And
Yeah,
just because you have a story or you have a past or whatever the case might be, that doesn't mean you can't be who you were destined to be.
yeah.
So if you could please give us a backdrop of what you've experienced and what you've had to overcome.
Well, definitely. Well, just to take it back a little bit, like I say, I was fortunate, to just have a good family around me. You notice me mentioning my father, mentioning my grandmother. My parents divorced back in like '86 when I was around 10 years old. So, and my mom moved to another state after that. So I grew up for a good portion of my life not interacting with my mom. You know,
Mm,
phone calls here and things of that nature. And thank God, to a certain extent, I still have I had my grandmother, but I had my father still around, and my father just put fear in me. Like, look, you're gonna be an A student, and you're gonna
right.
go to college, and you're gonna do something.
Fear of
You're not gonna,
God.
yeah, you're not gonna do any, you're not gonna be in the streets or anything. And then my
Right.
grandmother just filled in this role of my mother. So I always had a nice house to live in. I always had things fresh clothes, bikes, whatever I needed. So I never really experienced poverty.
Right.
But so being that I had that background, it allowed me to focus on things that I probably, a kid from the neighborhood I'm from probably wouldn't be thinking about. It's no filmmakers. There's not too many filmmakers from my neighborhood. There's a few. And, most of us, we get jobs and we go get a vocation, and that's our life and career. But I knew as a kid that I wanted to be a filmmaker since I was like probably about 12 years old. I mean, I loved movies since I was a kid, but I knew I wanted to do something in cinema since I was like 12.
Yeah.
And pretty much, to finish high school, and, I took about a year and a half off to get myself together, went to college, in 97. Listen, the struggles I've had, at least, in the industry, I've had to, intern, I've had to work for free. I've had to, a lot of things while have a job. I mean, when I started my first year of college, I wanted this film career so bad. I still had a job. I was going to school 4 or 5 days out of the week, and I got married around that time. I got married around 1997, so I had a whole marriage, baby on the way, whole situation going on, which was very tough.
Mm.
But I knew this was my dream, my passion, and I know I didn't want to go get a regular job. Although there's nothing wrong with a regular job, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So, I had to endure years of that. I wanted this film thing so bad. I got married in 97, but by the time I graduated high school, I was divorced. So it,
Wow.
this film thing took away from family. It took away from me being the husband I supposed to have been at that time. And even maybe being the father I could have been. I always financially took care of my kids, but
Like being,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. No, no, I'm asking
Yeah,
like being present.
right. Yeah, I could have
Okay.
been present more, but so those are some of the struggles I had to go through. And then in this industry, nobody really gives you anything. You kind of got to go out there and get it. You got to, if you want to direct a music video, or you want to get into the movie business, you got to go knock on a door. You got to, you got to make contact. Sometimes you got to ambulance chase after that work to get on these sets. And
Wow.
I did all three, you know, and, I'm glad I went through all of those things. And, I've had some subsequent relationships after that, of course, I had to, I wasn't present like I was supposed to. So it cost me a couple more relationships after I was divorced, all in the name of doing this film thing.
Mm.
And, I could go on and on about it, but, I went through a lot of, personal situations. And on the career wise, everything was supposed to went the way it was supposed to go. You intern, you meet people, you work your way up, uh, uh, and then you get your shot. You finally get your shot, and then you just have to once you get that shot, you have to maintain your position, and that's pretty much what I've been doing for most of my career. Just doing what I have to do to maintain my situation and elevate at the same time. You know,
Okay.
you know?
There's something that there were two things that you said
Yeah,
that, for some reason, for me is tying together.
yeah,
Said that you were raised by your father and your grandmother
yeah,
because your mom wasn't present.
right,
And then later on, you said that you subsequently had relationships with
yeah,
women that probably didn't go quite right.
right,
You know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
probably, did your little 1, 2. And
right,
that's okay. I mean, it's not really okay, but it's okay, right? We
yeah,
all make mistakes. We all, whatever. But
absolutely.
I want
Got
to
me
know, do
sweating over
you,
here.
you feel me? But do you think that you not having your mom present
Yeah,
was a direct impact on the relationships that you had with the women in your
yes,
life, and why?
A- absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up. Absolutely. And the problem, and before I dive into that, the problem with it is I didn't really realize that until really late in my life, that maybe not having my mother around was the reason why I was having failed relationships, and maybe my behavior in these relationships weren't right because I didn't have the guidance. You know, my mother, my grandmother only could do so much, but it's nothing like what the mother can
Listen,
teach her child.
listen.
So yes,
You can
definitely
have a supplement, but it's nothing
right.
like the one.
Absolutely.
When there's a void like that, it does
Yes.
something to you. It
Yes.
really does something to you. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
It really has, and and I feel like it's late in life now, and I'm happy. I'm a happy dude. I'm doing what I need to do. My kids, they're great. They're gonna graduate college, and I got my two young kids doing what they do, and but I do. If I'm gonna be quite honest, I do suffer a little bit because you know, although I would like to consider myself a nice guy, and I think I am a nice guy, maybe if I did have my mom around from that age 10 up until my early 20s when my mind is really getting developed and I'm learning about relationships, I'm learning about being around people, I really think that, you know, I could have been a better human being at that in them early days, to to my significant other. And I think that would have probably being loved and loving my significant other during them stages when I was really being a bad boy. I think I think I kind of suffer from it now because any relationship I've had probably in the last 10 years, I've probably put my significant others through some things because I'm still having trauma from not really learning how to love from when I was 10 years old.
Come on and give it to them.
Yeah,
Free the people.
yeah.
Free
So
the
now
people.
so now in my late 30s and my 40s, I'm just now still learning how to love properly. I got love in my heart, but I'm still learning how to distribute that the way it needs to be distributed. I'm still trying to learn and appreciate, you know, the people that love me. So
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I want you to help me help somebody, right? Because
okay,
there's a reason for all of this.
okay,
I want to ask you a question, and I want you to give me the emotion.
yeah.
What emotion did you feel with your mom not being present? What did you tell yourself about you as
Mm.
your with your mom not being present?
Would I tell myself like during the time it was happening or later in life when I
Both.
okay. Like I say, when everything kind of happened when I was around 10, 11 years old, like I say, I didn't feel it then because immediately a void was filled. I had my grandmother, I had my dad. And of course, I had all my knucklehead uncles who I loved to death. And so I didn't feel it right away. But maybe around 17, you know, I kind of started to realize, okay, well, damn, I miss my mother. And I couldn't, like I said, we still weren't as close as we should be at that time. We really couldn't really have a mom son conversation like any regular person would because we just didn't have the relationship. And you know, at the time, I didn't. Like I said, I didn't really think nothing was wrong, but it was times I missed my mom, and it was things that my significant other at that time would say, Antwan, you could treat me better. You could talk to me better in a certain way. You could do this. And I really wasn't really understanding like what she's talking about because, my uncle said, this is how you talk to a girl. You know, I see my dad have like 10 girlfriends. Well, what's wrong with me talking to you and talking to somebody else? My dad did it.
Right.
So, so this is the impact I'm having. I'm 16, 17 years old, 18 years old. And then, like I told you, I go to college, in 97. Here I am, 19, 20 years old. And now I'm trying to be a husband. And when I wasn't ready to be a husband.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
I don't have my mother around to tell me this is what you do and this is how you treat your wife. And my dad, at the time, he's been divorced since
Who
'86.
was
So
a Rolling Stone?
yeah, he can't give me any good advice. So, but to kind of make a long story short, it wasn't really till my 30s where I really, really realized, like, damn, you know what? Maybe the way I've handled my relationships over the last decade at that time is because, subconsciously I'm affected by not having my mother around. And I just started to accept it like in my like mid to late 30s that you know what, I probably was like that and somewhat still is because I'm missing my mother. Like I didn't have her in my life the way I was supposed to. And I'm dealing with it now.
Okay, so is it safe to say
Yeah.
that you felt rejected?
I'm gonna tell you, that's the unique thing about this. I never felt rejected from my mom or never rejected because right when everything happened in the mid 80s, I had my grandma, I had my dad. So I'm young, 10 years old. I'm not really connecting the dot that, your mom is not in the household every day because your grandmother is here and your dad is here. And even later in life, I didn't feel rejected. I just felt like my mom I just felt like she just felt guilty because she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there like she was supposed to. So I felt like she the one who was going through some problem. I'm good, you know. But I think later in life, I still never felt rejected, but I felt regretful because although I felt like my mom could have made a better effort, if I'm a 17, 18, 19-year-old man, I got two hands, feet. I can get on a plane. I can go to Atlanta, Georgia, and I can go see her. And I could tell her how I feel. And I think me being how I was back then and not having to care about a few things, I missed the opportunity. And
Mm.
and and now I'm paying for it. My
So,
mom passed. Yeah, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. My mom passed away in 2014, and we did get to reconnect about 2, 3 years
Good,
before she passed. So
good.
I got that. At least
The
God
closure.
gave me that.
Yes.
Yeah, He gave me that. I got to reconnect, and we talked. And we missed a lot of years because she didn't want to admit things to me, and I didn't really feel like making an effort. And so I had to live with that as well.
Yeah, yeah. So, did you ever feel resentful?
Yeah, yes, I feel resentful now because I just felt like I said, I missed the opportunity where I could have reconnected and I could have learned a lot of good life lessons way earlier in my life than the lessons I'm learning now.
Right.
So I do feel regretful, and I just feel regretful for not, having a good, just a deep relationship with my mom. I watch my youngest daughter. Her name is Jada. She'll be 10 in June, and I watch her with her mother, and I only can imagine she didn't have her mother. Like this girl would just crawl up in a corner and die, like if she
Right.
didn't have her mom. And I now wish I had that with my mother.
Right.
You know?
So, there was some resentment not having
Yes.
the relationship that you wanted to have with your mom.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
reason why I'm sitting right here
Okay.
on this one point. I'm
Okay.
sitting right here, and I want y'all to hear me what I'm saying now. This is very, 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 very important, and it might help you, some of you all, to understand why you
Mm-hmm.
have issues in relationships, not
Yeah.
just romantic, in
Yes.
business, in
Yeah.
friendship, in any kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Because Antoine just said that he had some resentment
Yeah.
because he did not have the
Mm-hmm.
relationship he wanted with his mom, who
Yeah.
is a woman. So,
Yeah.
what happens is, to the mind, subconsciously, the
Mm-hmm.
mind stores that resentment
Yes.
towards all women. Y'all hear
Yeah.
what I just said?
That's true.
If it's his mama,
Yeah.
the he had beef
Yeah.
with. I'm just playing. He ain't had beef with his mama. Y'all know I'm stupid. But the issue that he had, the issue that he had, the resentment that he had, was towards one person. But the
Yeah.
subconscious mind cannot make a distinction about whether or not it's one person or all women. It just stores the information.
Yeah.
So, because it stores the information subconsciously, the resentment towards one person, the mind really records it as all women.
Right. That's
So
right.
any woman that
That's
he
right.
came into relationship with, there
Yeah.
were major issues. There were
Yes.
probably issues of not being able to be emotionally available.
Oh man.
Oh, shut, shut, shut. I hear from now. I hear from him, Twan. I hear from him. There were
Mm-hmm.
probably issues of being shut down. There were probably issues of being, uh, help me, Lord. I don't want to
Yeah.
say the wrong thing. I don't want to say the
Nah,
wrong thing. Not
you
allowing people to get too close.
yeah.
There were
That's
probably issues of not allowing yourself to feel too much
yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't want to get hurt.
That's true.
I don't want to feel like you're going to leave me
That's true too.
because mama left me.
Hmm.
Y'all see how powerful this is? Y'all see why I harp on dealing with your traumas is
Yeah,
so important because if you don't deal with them, as he just stated,
yeah,
they speak for you, y'all.
yeah. They do.
They make choices for you.
They do.
They will cause you to self-sabotage. People think I be crazy and tripping.
Yes.
I say stuff. No. This
Yeah.
is life. This is real. It's important to address those things that you're trying to suppress.
Yeah.
It's so important. They shape your whole. I know what I'm talking about because I've lived it.
Yeah. No.
I've lived. They shape your
Absolutely.
entire life.
They do.
When you don't deal with things that hurt you, when you don't give a voice to your pain,
Hmm.
when you don't deal with your past, you just stuff it or you sweep it under the rug, thinking, okay, I'll just get over it. No, you never get over it, and it never goes away. It gets bigger as you grow. It grows with you.
Yeah.
As you get older, those issues, because it's energy, y'all. Hear
Yeah.
me. Hear me. It's energy. Energy never dies. It transcends. It moves. It goes
That's
from
right.
one thing to the next or one person to the next. It grows. And while you thinking you skating,
Yeah.
one day it's gonna show up again. And because you don't realize what's going on for you, it's second nature for you to you tripping. I'm good.
Yeah.
You got a problem. I'm good. Not knowing that that trauma is is alive and
Yeah.
well and speaking for you and is causing you to self sabotage. Who am I talking to?
Yeah. You're 100% correct.
Who am I talking to? It causes you to self sabotage. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, when a spirit of bitterness settles in, it defiles many.
Wow.
And
See.
then the scripture goes on to say that what defiles a man is not what goes in a man, but what comes out of a man. So, what does that mean? If I allow bitterness, if I allow anger, if I allow rage, if I allow resentment, if I allow any of those negative emotions to fester on the inside of me and I don't check it,
That's right.
or I don't seek some help so that somebody can help me check it and begin to heal,
That's right.
what happens is I begin to spew out poison.
Yeah.
I
That's right.
begin to cause damage to others because damage is inside of me. That's the energy that I'm reflecting. It's on the inside of me and it's festering.
Yeah.
If I don't deal with the toxicity while I'm calling everybody else toxic, who am I talking to?
I know.
While you calling everybody else toxic, you the one.
That's
Yeah,
very true. It's very
you.
true.
Go ahead. You
Oh,
can go ahead
uh,
and divulge if you want to tap
yeah.
on it.
I just wanted to agree with you. Everything that you say is true. Like I'm living proof to most of that, and you know, and then you know, it's never too. I got a tight circle of friends, and I got a handful of people who love and care for me and always giving me good advice. And even at this age, at my age now, even therapy, everybody's doing the therapy thing, and this, and these days. And some people are embarrassed about going to therapy or feeling like they need to divulge their problems to somebody that they don't know. But
Right.
I haven't stepped into the therapy world yet, but I'm open to it. And maybe talking to I'm thinking, maybe talking to somebody may help me get the advice I need and get the steps I need to do to pull myself up, from whatever I'm going through to be a better human being moving forward. And I think I'm a good human being now, but I always think it's some improvement we can make as human beings. And I'm not perfect and I've never claimed to be, but I want to be better. And that's
Yeah.
the difference. I want to be better. you
And
know.
that's the most important
Mhm.
part. You got the wants. something.
Yeah, you got to want it. Yeah,
Nothing that we're saying tonight is going to make a difference if
yeah,
you don't want something different.
absolutely.
You got to want it, y'all. And
Yeah,
let me tell you something. I am a huge, huge, huge advocate of therapy,
yeah,
counseling,
yeah,
coaching.
yep.
I've done it. I had to do it. I ain't had no choice because
Right, right.
I was snap crackling popping just a little bit too much.
Wow.
I was facing jail time, and you know you know I was doing some things that
All
I
right, all
praise
right,
God.
all right, all
I was
right,
about to
all
land
right,
myself in a whole world of trouble, and I could not figure out why. Like, I don't want
right.
nobody to feel like I'm sitting up here talking, and I've gone through this.
Yeah,
Y'all hear what I'm saying? I'm not speaking to you from the perspective of me being better than you. No, I'm sitting
right.
right there. I've been through this. The difference is I dealt with my stuff.
That's right.
I had to. I didn't have a choice. Okay? And I mention this frequently. And I'm gonna keep mentioning it till I make y'all sick of me.
Right. That's
But
right.
I've tried to commit suicide twice and
Wow.
was unsuccessful. Clearly, God had a plan.
That's
Look at
right.
your neighbor and say,
That's
"Dang,
right. That's right.
God had a plan." But I had to go through all of that to
That's
understand
right.
the ins and the outs of the psyche
That's
and
right.
why people do the things that they do and why people suffer the way they suffer and why I had to find out the why through my
That's right.
experience. I had to walk through the darkness to navigate to the light so that I could give that to somebody else. Why? Because what I'm learning is that some therapists, let me say it this way,
Yeah.
they don't really give you the tools that you need to come out of what you're in. They just want to dope you up.
Right.
They just want to, and what that does, and I'm not saying for, people not to take medication. Let me make that disclaimer now. I don't want these people looking for me talking about nothing. However, it didn't work for me. I had to go deeper. Because for me, the medication only a band-aid. I
Right.
was still suffering. I was still going through it mentally. I was still going through it emotionally. I had to find somebody that loved me enough.
Yeah.
God bless her soul.
Yeah.
That saw past all my flaws. That saw past all my rage.
Hmm.
That saw past the facade that I put up of this gangster. That saw past all of it and loved the holy hell out of me.
Yeah.
And
Love to
she
do it.
she she went through the trenches and she counseled because she was also a counselor.
Okay.
My
Good.
spiritual mother was a counselor. So the thing for me was I needed the balance of the therapy and the spirituality.
Right.
And that's for somebody. Sometimes, we go to therapists and they don't have what we need. Sometimes we got to really seek God and find out or ask Him to send someone to us that's going to impact us.
That's very true.
You understand what I'm saying?
Very
And
true.
that's who she was for me.
Yeah.
And when it became too much for her, she knew where to send me. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. And but I'm gonna tell you a joke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from a man's perspective, when you say God to send somebody, to to pull you up, more or less is what you're saying. As a man, we gotta be able to accept that person because us men, I think by nature and I think it's in our in our DNA that we're a little bit stubborn. We don't want to admit that we need help all the time. We don't
Mm.
want to appear soft to any woman. One thing about being a man, I'll just say this real quick, and I'll throw it back to you,
No,
is
take your
that
time.
that we as men, because this is the way we brought up, we don't want to ever feel like we need from a woman. Like,
Mm.
we're the providers.
Wow.
You need
Really?
my help. I don't need your help. And this is how we brought up. I've been on this earth over 40 years, and I grew up with my uncles, and this is what they instilled in me for 40 years, 4 decades. And so when that help comes around and you're not ready to accept it, you know, I, I mean, when that help and that good person comes around trying to help, you're not ready to accept it. it's a personal hell. I think that men, and I've been there, that we're in, and we need that advice. We need you to speak on that, to tell us, what do we do? How do we get rid of our 4 decades of stubbornness of not telling ourselves we the man, we don't need no woman to tell us what to do or to give me no advice. That's my job. What do you say to that? What's your advice to my brothers?
Mm.
Oh, you ain't got to think about it. I already know you had this answer ready.
Yeah, I do. It kind of hit though. It kind of hit me hard,
Yeah, because
for more
cause,
than one reason.
yeah,
But I
because why you think about it, and I think that, like I say, people don't really ask that question right here. And women, you've been a woman, I'm being a man. You probably don't understand why we don't ask for help, and it's because it's not just because we're stubborn. It's because of how for generations what's been instilled into us. No man wants to admit to any woman that I need your help. Like, how do I'm a big 6'2", 200-pound man. How do I go to you and say, Cornetta, babe, sweetheart, I'm broke. Can you pay my bills this month? I could never say that.
mm.
I'd rather either go figure it out, or I just crawl in my corner and you'll never know I'm in my corner trying to
O-
figure it out.
okay,
What do we
okay,
do?
okay. So first of all, you kind of touched on it
Right.
because of the way you all were brought up. Y'all were
Yeah.
brought up. Suck it up.
Yeah.
You a boy. Boys don't cry.
Right.
So I feel like vulnerability to men equates weakness.
Hmm. Yes.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Hmm.
A real woman
Yeah.
needs that from her man. Okay?
Vulnerability.
What?
Okay.
Listen.
Okay. Okay.
I almost
Let,
said something
let me
that was
write
not
that. Let me write
godlike.
that
Wait
down.
a minute, let me gather my thoughts. Vulnerability is like kryptonite to a woman
Okay.
because that's where we speak. That's the heart space that we speak from. We speak from a place of vulnerability.
Hmm.
So when a man can connect with a woman, y'all chime in, ladies. If I'm lying, I'm fine. But when a man can connect with a woman from the place of vulnerability, it does something to us that's like, oh, like, because we're nurturers
Yeah.
by nature. We want to fix it. We want to be there. We want to, let me hold you. Lay on my bosom. Come lay on my bosom. Let me make it better. Let me rub your head. Something like we long for that.
Yeah.
We long for that. That's first of all. So let me clear that up for y'all men. Like, if if you want your woman to do cartwheels for you, listen to me. One of the things is be vulnerable with her.
Okay.
She can connect to that. Because when you're too mannish all the time, it makes us feel like we got to be managed with you because it's a
Hmm.
defense mechanism. That's what we do to protect ourselves. But when you could drop that guard and go into your heart space, like that space that make you feel like you a punk.
Hmm.
Okay, wait a
Yeah.
minute. I got a coming up right here because she said yes, yes, yes. Okay, I got a witness. I got a witness on tonight. Praise God. Okay.
Right.
The thing is when you can drop your guard
Yeah.
and be vulnerable, you push us into our femininity. That's safety
Okay.
for us.
Okay. Okay.
It's safety for us. I'm in my safe space now because now you speak in my language.
Hmm.
Men feel like, oh, I can't cry in front of her. Like
That's right.
that's how we be dying to see a tear.
What? I'm
We
not
be
crying.
dying to see a tear. Like we be dying. Like, do you feel anything? Because we're feelers. That's how we're wired.
Wow.
Psychologically, emotionally, we're emotional beings. That's our language. When you can speak our language, it's like, ooh.
Okay.
It's like, wait a minute. Like it does something for us. So if I can say anything to any man out there that's watching,
Yeah.
especially when you got a good one, drop the guard, please. Try to find a way. Because what it is, that pride is the thing that keeps you from falling in your own
Okay.
mind. but in reality, it causes you to fall. You
Yeah.
heard what I just said?
Yeah. Yeah. But let me
The
ask you.
pride is the thing that, yeah, yeah, yeah. Go
I
ahead.
didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead and finish your point.
No, no, I was gonna say that pride is the thing in
Yeah.
your mind that's going to keep you from falling. It's your defense. It's your protection. But in reality, it's the very thing that will cause you to fall. It's the
What you,
very thing that will cause you to lose what you don't want to lose.
mm, mm,
Pride. So if I could say anything to any man out there, drop it.
mm.
When you got a good woman, I don't mean no, I don't mean no praise God.
Yeah.
I mean a good one. I mean one that's riding. I mean one that's like a good woman.
Right.
And all she's really asking from you is connection, love, to
Okay.
feel safe. You understand what I'm saying? She's not trying to
Yes.
rob you. She's not trying
Okay.
to, you know what I'm saying? She's not trying to ride your coattail. She's not trying to, she just wants you to love her.
Yeah.
What that means to her is go into your space of vulnerability with her.
Okay.
Connect with her on a vulnerable level. I promise it'll change your life.
Now, of course, like I say, I would like to think I'm good at taking direction, but
Okay.
like I say, I grew up without my mom, so I'm not sure if I'm fast to trust someone like myself. What would you say? Like, okay, you're one woman, one intelligent, successful woman telling me this, and that's good. But I, how do I still know that's going to work with my significant other? How do I know I can go to her and still say yes? I mean, be vulnerable, and she don't turn around and look at me like, "Oh my God, I'm with this poop putt. Oh my gosh," when I could have been
You
with
gotta
this
know your
baller over here. How do I trust her? How do I know?
you gotta see her character,
Okay, okay,
observing her. How does she react to other people?
okay,
How does she handle tough situations? You got to
okay.
observe her character. You know when you're in the presence of goodness. It's like a sense, like like you know what I'm saying? Like it's a
Yeah,
sense. Like I know it's something about being in that person's presence that just makes you feel safe. At the same time, I do understand where you're coming from. How do I know when to trust? That takes time.
yeah,
And let's
yeah.
just be real. Love is a gamble.
Oh, okay, it is.
Woo, Father, in the name.
Yep,
Love is a gamble. You're literally taking a chance of knowing you might get your heart broken in this situation.
yep, yep,
And
yep.
it's really up to the individuals in the situation. And Bob Marley said it. And I love this phrase. Everybody's gonna hurt you. You
Mm-hmm.
just gotta figure out who's worth getting hurt for.
That's deep.
Ain't it?
That's deep.
Ain't it?
That's
Shout
deep.
out to Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying? Shout out
Yes.
to Bob Marley, but it's the truth because we're all human. You got two separate individuals, and I feel like my mama's speaking through me right now. Because,
Okay.
woo, Lord help me. Okay, let me. You got two individuals that are that have two completely different backgrounds, that have two completely different experiences trying to come together to become one.
Right.
Two different ideologies, two different views on life and how life is supposed to go. Somebody gonna get hurt. Somebody, at least somebody feelings gonna get hurt at
Right.
some point. But
Right.
can I can I be brave enough? Because you got to be brave to love, baby. Can I
You're
be
right.
brave enough to step into this situation when I'm ready? When I'm ready.
Okay.
Can I be brave enough to step into this situation wholeheartedly and be brave enough to give my all
Right.
and see if I'm going to get a return? If I make this deposit,
Mm-hmm.
am I going to get a return? But that's why I can appreciate taking time now. Because the only way you're going to really discover that is by getting to know somebody for real.
Okay.
Getting to know their character, getting to know their good days, their bad days, their on switches, their off switches. If I piss her off today, how she gonna act? Is she still gonna love me tomorrow? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Are you encountering somebody that's gonna love you unconditionally? That
Okay.
only way you're gonna find that out is if you take time with that person and go through the ups and downs and the vicissitudes of life.
Okay. Well, let me say this.
Yes, sir.
You giving some good
Oh, this is
advice.
good. This is
Oh yeah,
good. I
no,
love it.
no, no, of course.
Okay.
Now you giving some good advice for the brothers. You know,
Okay.
people like myself. Now I want to speak. I want to speak for myself and my brothers. You know, when you encounter a guy like myself that I've been through things I've been through emotionally and it affected my relationships in the past. You know, what helps you guys? When I say you guys, I mean women, beautiful, intelligent women of the world. What does it do to help? Aside from being vulnerable, what does it help for you guys to be patient with people like myself? You know, like I say, I would like to think I'm a nice guy, but I could be better. I've
Oh, I
always thought,
don't like you. I want to thump you in the forehead right
no,
there.
well, no, I'm just saying. Thank you. And I thought for a long time I was a big romantic guy. I probably do the basics when it comes to being really romantic, and I could probably be better. How does? What's your advice? You know, well, I can't ask you for advice because you the woman, but what do you think I can say to you, and I'm speaking you representing all women,
Women.
to get you guys to kind of understand that, look, hey, I'm traumatized. I know I could be better. I know I could say sweeter things. I know I could bring her flowers to on our first date or whatever, but I didn't do these things because you might not know, I didn't grow up with my mother, so I didn't know. You know, my mom would have told me this if I would have had it in my life. So me not having this, you know, what kind of patience does a woman have or need to have? Like what can I say to that woman to make her understand my plight so that
Mm,
she's patient enough to wait for me to do the things I need to do better?
you just said it.
What?
I promise you. I promise you, you just said it. Like
Yeah,
you just that straightforward. Like that's what I mean by being vulnerable. Being
yeah,
vulnerable in the sense of you don't have to be like super emotional like a woman. You don't have to do
right.
that. But just being able to be brave enough to say how you really feel, being brave enough
Okay,
to open up and say, I've been traumatized. That's vulnerability. Being brave enough to say, I don't know how to love for real. That's vulnerability. Being
okay,
brave enough to say, I need you to be patient with me
right.
while I learn how to do this thing for
So
real.
I just say it. I just
Just say it.
tell her.
Just say it.
Yeah.
And if you got a
Is she
real
not gonna
woman,
hold up? Oh, hold up, Quinn. Is she not gonna run when I tell her? 9 out of
no,
10 times
no
she gonna
real woman,
stay.
not no real woman. I'm
Okay.
telling you, we
Yeah.
was built for this. God made us to be helpmeets for a reason. We have an innate thing about us that wants to fix or multiply or make better anything that you give us. Anything. So if you give me a broken heart, I want to put all the pieces back together and make it
Okay.
better. You understand what I'm saying? Now, what I could say to the women is that you have to be sure that you're willing to go through the process
The
of
process.
allowing that man to become whole again.
That's okay. That's right.
Because
The process.
it's not easy.
Nope.
It's going to take a lot. I won't say a lot. It's going to take something. Let me say it that way because I don't want to make it seem like it's unattainable because it is. It's doable. But it's going to take a certain level of patience, just like you said,
Okay.
and willingness and love
Okay.
from your heart space, knowing this is a good man for real.
All right.
This is
All
a
right. All
damn
right.
good
All
man.
right. Tell them now, Cornell. Make sure they hear you.
This is a
Make sure they hear
oh,
you now.
I just said the D word. Oh well, Saints gonna sue me tonight, but that's all right. Praise the Lord. In the Bible
Yeah.
it says ass. Y'all leave me alone. Anyway,
Yeah.
so the yeah, that he's a good man.
Yeah.
And he just has some issues that he needs to work through. Cause half of the time we as good women have the same.
Yeah.
So if we could work together individually
Hmm.
and then come back together again. If that makes sense, what I just said. Like, if we're together and you work on your stuff and I work on my stuff,
Right.
you work on being vulnerable and connecting, and also having patience as well. Because women have major insecurities about things based
Yes,
on
we
the
do.
traumas that they've had.
Yes, we do.
You understand what I'm
Yes,
saying?
we do.
Women have, but our insecurities are masked in anger. You
Mhm.
understand? Whereas your insecurities are masked in I'm a tough guy.
Yes.
That's your facade.
True.
I'm good. I'm good. Everything good. Or you shut down.
Okay.
Us, we lash out. So if I'm triggered by my significant other, I'm I'm not gonna just shut down. I'm gonna snap. Well, I
What?
would. Let's just say that I would have today.
Yeah.
I've learned to just say it.
Okay.
If I feel away, I'm gonna say I feel away. I
Okay.
could be wrong, and I'm willing to accept that I'm wrong.
Okay.
But are you willing to be vulnerable enough to hear my plea, so to speak, or to hear
Yeah.
my concern and see me and acknowledge me from that perspective instead of, oh, you tripping? I don't want to
Right.
hear all that because that's that
Right.
ego machismo. Like, and
Yeah.
here it is. I'm giving you my heart, and I'm looking for you to give me yours in this moment. Understand that I'm hurting because I'm triggered. Whatever you did brought back a memory that I suppressed, and
Right.
I need you to see me from this place. Like, just hear me out. Like, I feel a way about this. Like, am I wrong about what I'm feeling? Like, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
ladies, this is for y'all as well. Like, I think we need to learn how to talk to our men.
Oh
We
yeah.
ain't finna just hop
Good
on
point.
them. We ain't finna just hop on them. We're not gonna do that tonight.
Hmm. Good
We
point.
need to learn how to address our men, even in the midst of anger. And that's a skill. And oh, it burns like fire. Being able to feel all the rage and the anger and honing it and channeling it
Yep.
just so that you can express with respect. Because more than anything, a man desires to be respected by his woman.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
More than you can love
Yes.
him, he wants you to respect him.
I'm gonna chime in on that. Then I'm gonna let you
Please,
finish.
sir.
You
Please,
hit
sir.
you hit on a note that is so true. I think we just want to be more respected than anything else you can do with us. Where it comes to intimacy or come to just taking care of the household, making sure the house clean and food. I'd rather be respected than you have a plate of food on the table for me every night. And maybe that's just a guy thing. I don't know, but I just this is why we and like I said, I think I speak for all my brothers. This is why we don't open up because we don't and not show our vulnerability because we think you're gonna lose respect. You know,
Mm.
in my last, yeah, it's very true, and I'll give you an example of that. In my last, my last relationship I had with my mother, my last two kids, she's a nurse. She delivered babies, so automatically, she makes a whole lot of money, more than me. And I never had a problem with that because hey, that's she earned the right to make the hundreds of thousands of dollars she makes. But we never clash because I know men clash when a woman make more than them. It's usually a problem. We never clash because at the same time I was doing my thing. I'm making my money. I'm doing my movies. I'm doing my music videos, and the respect was there. But I tell you what, when the problem reason why we're not together now, and I put that all on my head, is let me tell you this quick story, and then we can come back to finish your point. I
Mhm.
worked at for everybody who live in South Florida. I worked on a show called Deco Drive on Channel 7. Worked on that show about 10
Oh
years. Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I was a studio cameraman there, and I was making about $23 an hour to really come in, shoot the news, sit down, be on Facebook when Facebook was like new at the time, and do nothing. Just be in the studio and be on call for breaking news. And I made like $23 an hour doing that, making lots of money. And then I left all of that to do the film. I was already doing my film. I've been filming my whole life, But I left that to just be like, I'm a full time director now. And I went from making $23 an hour, making 60, 70 grand a year, whatever it was at the time with the overtime and all of that, to like now I'm self employed making zero. And that first year, I left a job January, and I think from January to December, I struggled. I
Mm.
struggled. And so now, that time where I say I'm not mad because my girl at the time making more money than me, oh, it kicked in then.
How you feel away?
Oh, I feel away now. I
Oh,
feel away
glory.
because when it's time to pay that mortgage on the house and it's time to pay these car notes and all that, and I have to now ask her to help me out. Oh my gosh, I was mad at her because I had
Wow.
to ask her for money. Like this is what we going through as men. Like I was mad at her. Listen to what I'm saying. Mad at her because I had to say, "Hey Tracy, I'm $200 short on my truck. Can you loan me some money?" Because I was mad that I had to go to her. Like I'm supposed to be this big time director. I'm left Channel 7. I'm running my own business now, and I'm be successful. And here I am asking for car note money.
Wow.
You know what that feels like? You know how that just pulls you down and make you mad with everybody that's around you for no reason. And this is what I want, my fellow ladies of the world to understand. This is why, we really don't show our vulnerability and we don't ask for help because it is hard going to ask your woman to help because then you subconsciously start to think, well, damn, I just had to ask Tracy for a couple $100, so she probably thinking, you know, I ain't, I'm a poo putt now. This is something she probably got to
It's
do
like,
every month now. This is
like you
going on
said.
in my head. Hmm?
It's like what you said. I'm sorry to cut you off. I didn't mean to
No,
cut you
go
off.
ahead.
But it's like you said before. You're afraid that we'll lose respect.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and then I assure you, like that probably, that thinking and the troubles her and I might have had subsequent to that. But I think the root of it probably started with my resentment because, well, I'm not making money now. She making all the money, and I'm too bullheaded to accept the fact that my woman wants to help me. So,
Wow.
so I put the 100% blame on me for that situation, and I think it started with that. You know what I'm saying? So this is like I said, this is the turmoil us men that we go through, at
Yeah.
home, you know,
Yes.
and this is why therapy is important. Now, like I said, I haven't had a day of therapy yet. I'm not against it, but I just want to make sure you understand, and the ladies that's listening to this program tonight, they understand why we so bullheaded the way we are, and it's because of what you just said. I don't have to go long winded anymore. It's just respect. We so afraid that you're not going to respect us that we have to come to you for help because this is how we've been conditioned. I grew up around men. This is what I was told. You gotta go ask a girl for money. You ain't crap. You a
Right.
sucker. This my
Wow.
uncle's told me my whole life. So
So,
yeah.
so, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm
Take your
sorry.
time. Take your
Wait.
time.
No, because it sucks
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's different when you have
Hmm.
just someone who's leeching off of you. That's
Okay.
different.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a whole other thing when you're in a situation with someone and you watching them work hard and you
Yeah.
see they doing their best. For them to feel like I'm your woman
Hmm.
and you can't ask me for help
Right.
because you feel like I'm gonna disrespect you.
Hmm.
Why? Like why? Where does that even come from? Where does that even come from? At least, and maybe there are some women out there that are like that. Maybe there,
Yeah.
are a few gold diggers out there that just expect you to dish. And the moment you need them to, okay, I stand corrected. I can see how that narrative can be prevalent. I can see how, but it boggles me though, because that's what we're here for.
Right.
Like we suppose iron sharpens iron. You
You're right.
understand what I'm
You're
saying?
right.
And if I'm weak in an area, that person is supposed to be strong in the area. You understand? And
Right.
vice versa. Like that's what's the purpose of being in partnership? to feel butterflies in my stomach, child, please. I can get on a roller coaster and feel
Right.
butterflies in my
Right.
stomach. Okay. But
Right.
if you can't if you can't be present for me in a way that makes me better in any way,
Yep.
if you can't be present for me in a way that helps me in any way,
Mm-hmm.
what are we doing?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
What are we doing this for? What's the purpose? Because guess what? All them feelings get old.
Yep.
Okay, so what am I with you? Because you look good? Them
Right.
looks begin to fade. Stuff begins to droop. Hello, somebody. Things begin to change and not function the way they used to. So
Right.
like at what like so then when all of that fades and dissipates, what we got?
Mm-hmm. You're right. You're right.
What we got?
You're
It
right.
can I still look over at you and be like, I love you? Like can I still be like, yeah, this is my person?
Yeah.
If we ain't doing it for that, what we doing it for?
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. I mean, it's good. It's easy now to receive it on this form right now, but I gotta admit, when you're in it and your woman 2 feet away from you and you having the same conversation in real life, not that it's not real life, but you know what I mean.
I get you. I get you.
It's different, but it's still good to hear what
Can
you
I
hear
ask
your
you why?
advice and hear his perspective. Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you why?
Yeah, because like I say, it's like I said, when you look at your woman in the eye, it's just different, and we're not ready to listen and accept it in that moment. Like right here, I knew we were having an interview, so I was ready to receive any information you had for me. But when you're in it in real life, it's different. And so all I would say is, to the women that's out there and you hear it from a man, just I guess just be a little bit patient and just understand we grew up a certain way, different from a woman. We grew up with standards that we was told we have to live by. So when you get a man like myself that grew up without his mother, and it took me this long to start appreciating, uh, you know, any relationship that I'm going to be in or that I'm going to look forward toward in the future, you know, you got to understand how I got here,
Right.
you know. But at the same time, like you said, Cornetta, you got to also be with a man that's willing to accept the advice and willing to accept and be open to being better. So that's part of the equation too.
Absolutely. Okay, so how can I say this?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What?
what can we do as women?
Right.
What approach can we take? Because what I'm hearing is the reason why a lot of times men have a hard time opening up to women as well is because we don't create a safety or a safe environment
Yeah.
for them to open up. So what would you say to the women? Okay, y'all, we in the hot seat now, y'all. We seat now. What would you say to us women? How can we approach our men? How can we approach our situation to
Yeah.
to give this man a space to feel open enough to be
Oh,
open?
easy, easy. Now, I'm a director, so I'm used to giving direction, going up to my actress or my actor to say, "Kid, this is what you need to do." So I'm gonna do that here, and I know it's not realistic, but I'm giving you some man code right here. I'm gonna tell you the secret,
Oh shucks.
right?
You finna break the man
And,
code.
and it's really simple. Now, I hope y'all ready for it.
Okay.
All you have to do is at the beginning of a relationship, even when you're just talking, even if you just met on a dating app, or even when y'all meet for the first time for that first dinner. You just gotta do this from the beginning, though. That's the catch. You gotta do it from the beginning. Just tell that man that, look, wherever this relationship is going to go, if I got you, I got you. Say it from the beginning. Don't wait till ish happens and then give me the speech, because it'll
Right.
be too late at that time.
Right. Because then you don't want to hear
Yeah, yeah, I
it.
don't want to hear. But at that first encounter, that first date, those first 5 conversations, or those first 10 conversations, just say, look, if this is going somewhere, and we are going to be together, and we're going to try to make something work long term, this is what I'm going to be for you. I'm going to be there. If you, and this is what I need you to do. If you got a problem, I want you to know you can come to me and I'm not going to look down on you. It's that simple. It's no
Fact.
formula, it's no arithmetic, it's no science. It's that simple. Now, people not thinking that when you're going on your first date, your second date, I get it. But I'm just telling you, in a perfect world, if you told me that on my first date, all the pressure, all the sweating I'm doing, I'm telling you, the pressure would be off my head. And we gonna have the most incredible time moving forward because you just took a whole load off my back from day
Wow.
one, not after the first argument about money. That's that's it. That's it. Now, and hear me out too, Cornetta. I'm not saying you telling that man that, oh, don't worry, if you lose your job, I'm gonna pay all your bills. No, no, no. What I said, hear what I'm saying. All I'm saying is just let that man know any adversity you're gonna face, I'm gonna be in it with you. And if you need my help, I got you. That don't mean you're gonna give him money. That mean you might just let him stay with you and and until you get back on his feet. That could mean a whole hundred things. It doesn't mean you're gonna take care of him and give him your paycheck every week. It just means that you got his back and that you're not gonna look down on him. And that would help a lot of my brothers out early
Wow.
on in a relationship and not when it's too late after the first incident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Ladies, y'all heard that? Like he just gave you the game for free. Hello.
Yeah.
He
Hmm.
just gave you the game for free.
That's it.
Listen, 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 listen.
That's it.
I hope
And
y'all taking notes.
yeah, and this one, and I'm gonna tell you, give you a little bit more. And this is kind of like I say, some men act out a little bit. You know, sometimes we act out and we do crazy things because we're looking for attention. And sometimes we act out and we do things and we might have extra affairs or we might have a good woman at home and still got a girlfriend on the side because you still got to fear that, oh, maybe my girl not going to be there for me when I go through something. But this
Wow.
chick over here, she ain't asking for nothing. So that's why I'm hanging out with her too, you know. And I just think it,
Wow.
mhm, and I just think if a conversation is had from the beginning and you let that man know that, look, I got you no matter what adversity you go through, we good. I mean, that's it. You're not saying you're gonna marry him. You're not saying you're gonna have these kids or nothing. You're just saying, look, while we building, if something happened to you, I got you. That's it. You didn't promise me $1 million. You didn't say you're gonna have my baby. You didn't promise me a ring. You just saying, I got you. You don't have to be embarrassed about coming to me for help because that's what we're doing this for. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, this is good.
it.
This is
Good.
so good. Oh, I don't even know where to go at this point.
Good. I'm gonna tell
I
you,
don't even know where to go right
this
now.
been good conversation. Time been flying too.
Yes,
I know we
this
gotta
has been
wrap this up.
amazing. This has been amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you've had all this experience and
Yeah.
all of these struggles and you know what did you learn from it? What was the lesson that you got now that you can
Hmm?
use now overall in relationship, in business, in everything? Like what was the overall lesson that you learned?
Well, well, I'm still learning because I
Me
gotta
too.
admit I'm still not perfect. I'm still not perfect. But what I have learned is that communication is key, and you taught me a new word, vulnerability. I still have to learn to be more vulnerable
Wow.
and and open and not embarrassed to ask for help when I fall. And help don't always mean financial. I really could, you know, I don't talk about my mother's situation with everybody. You know, you know, but the people or the persons I do discuss it with, I probably need to be more open about like, okay, yeah, I am affected that I didn't have my mom. So you gotta be a little bit gentle with me and a little bit more patient with me. And I've now learned I probably need to say that and be open to to share that information now.
Yay!
So
That makes me happy.
now, now,
Oh,
now I can't use it as an excuse either. So don't get me wrong. I promise not to use that as an excuse either.
to
But
just continue doing,
right,
yeah.
yeah. But I would disclose that just so that if I'm not doing the most romantic things that guys normally do now, or I'm not participate in a relationship the way a normal guy would, at least now you know that I'm a little diamond in the rough, and I just need to be dusted off and have time to be polished up, and I'm gonna be
Oh, I
that
felt the
diamond unique to
Holy
you.
Ghost. Wait a minute. I think we need to pray, pray. I
Yeah.
felt the. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead. We
And
got
really,
to
and
deliverance.
really, that's it. And that's actually, what I, that's kind of life lessons that I'm learning when it comes to these relationships and stuff. And I'm looking to be better, and I'm looking to learn more about myself. I believe in some therapy sessions somewhere down the line in my life, so I could probably deal with whatever subconscious situations I'm going through from not having my mother in my life. I think maybe talking to somebody about that might help me figure some things out about my patterns so I
It'll
can
change your.
correct them.
It'll change your life.
Yeah,
I promise you it will.
yeah.
I promise you it will.
Hmm.
Please do. I beg
Yeah,
you. I believe
I
in
got you.
Jesus and therapy. Hello.
Amen. Amen.
Hello.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
It'll
Amen to
change
that.
your life.
Yeah.
Okay, so in closing, I
Yeah.
want you to, if you could give some encouraging words
Mhm.
about, or to someone about what you've encountered, what you've struggled with, what you've learned, what you've overcome, how you went from ashes to diamonds, that
Mhm.
process, to someone that's watching that is currently in their ashes phase,
Right.
okay? And they're wholeheartedly and going from ashes to diamonds can, it doesn't have to mean like success in the world. It could just mean success in relationships,
Right.
success in love, success in
Mhm.
friendship, success in business. Like, what do you want to progress? How do you go from a really low place to a really high place? What does that look like? What kind of encouragement would you give to someone that's looking to be better?
Well, basically, of course, I would say, number one, you got to start off by, you know, praying every day and asking for that help, But for my people, and I want to address everybody, that could be listening or will listen to this broadcast down the line, even if you're not a follower of God and you may not pray every day, you still have to step out into this world and you still got to find something. Like I don't have all the answers, so I'm just that person still got to go out there in that world and find something that motivates them to want to be great. I don't know, even if you're a hooligan on the streets and you selling all the bricks in the world, but damn, you should probably go get a food truck business and you'll probably be a millionaire in about a year. Working on to it, running a business.
Right.
I just think you need to, find something, find a passion, and go out there and let that kind of occupy your time in a positive way. And what people got to realize too is, and I know it's in school and on TV they say all the proper politically correct things, but we have to also let people know that it's okay that you're gonna fail at first, just as long as you going to keep trying again. Like I told you a whole story when I left Channel 7 and I had that $23 an hour. And remember, this is 2009, 2010. I left China in 2009, I think it was. And that $23 an hour was everything after the crash, that housing crash and everything. And that first year, I fell flat and I could have
Mm-hmm.
quit. I was hurting. And I got this big house and I got these cars and I got my little two kids at the time, from my relationship at the time. And everybody, trying to look at me like, yo, why would you ever leave that cush $23 an hour? And it's because I felt it was something big out there for me. And I crashed and burned that first year. And I stayed with it. And here I am. It's 2023 and I'm suited up. And got movies. I got a TV show I produce and direct. I made it to your show. And
Little old me, little old
And,
me.
nah,
You know.
you good. Now, yeah, I would cast. I've been on Love and Hip Hop the last couple of seasons, and I'm gonna tell you, what if I didn't pick myself up after that first year leaving Channel 7?
Wow.
I don't know what I'd be doing. So my thing is, you have to accept that you may fail, but you have to keep going. And people want to know how you're going to keep going. If I don't, nobody going to help me, nobody going to do this. Well, that's life. You got to accept that everybody's not going to help you either, but you have to go find a way. And that's that, you know?
Sometimes you gotta get it. You gotta
Yeah.
get it the muscle.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, and that's
That's
my
right.
advice. And I would love to sit here. I'm not gonna go long winded, but I'd love to sit here and just get the perfect answer and say, "Oh yeah, you just go, find love, and everything's gonna happen." But that's just not the truth. The truth is you're gonna fail, and you, you have to get up and keep going, or the
Yes.
dream won't happen. Um, just like you said, you had times where you feel like you want to be on this earth anymore for all the little list of things, I said I done did, and you know, the resume I sent you with everything I did, you don't think it was some days in between where I was like, man, I'm probably better off not on this earth. And I thank God I had the strength to still endure it because I'm only just getting started.
Right.
I'm still in my 40s. I got another 50 years on this earth to still get it, and I'm excited. And that could have ended if I would have just gave up because I had a failure. you know, because I had asked Tracy for $200 to pay my car note, you know. So you gotta want to do it, and you gotta know you're gonna fail, and if you persevere through that and you stay consistent, I assure you, you're gonna have success.
Wow. Wow.
You
And
know,
there you have it, folks. If at
yeah,
first you don't succeed,
yeah, that's so
dust
true.
yourself off and try it again. You heard it
That's
here first. I'm just saying, no, you didn't. That was a
no,
lid. That was a
yeah,
lid.
I feel you on that.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
This was so good.
yeah. I
I
appreciate you
say
having me. Yeah,
this was the bomb for real. This was I
yeah.
learned a lot. A
Hey,
lot,
I,
a
I think
lot.
you was my first official therapy session. So thank you for this free therapy. Thank you for this free therapy. Thank
Oh, well, see, here's the gag. Here's the gag. Here's the gag. I actually do counseling.
see,
That's the
okay,
thing, and a lot of people don't know that. I don't really put that out there like that because I want when I interact with people for it to just be
yeah,
organic. I don't want them to look at me like, oh, she a counselor now. She gonna try to analyze and try to.
right,
No, I want our conversations to be organic, and then you experience the healing naturally, just in
yeah,
conversation. The whole
yeah,
time I'm up here calculating like I'm
yeah,
okay. So I'm gonna say this because if I say this, that's gonna trigger that.
yeah,
Like, and this is why y'all listen. This is why getting help is so important because if you get with the right person, they're gonna trigger those things that are hiding in plain sight.
yes,
You understand what I'm saying? They're gonna trigger. They have a way of just knowing. Okay, this person said this, so let me touch on this right here because if I touch on this right here, it's gonna open up the floodgates of heaven.
that's
You
right,
understand what I'm saying? It's important. Like we have so much underlying trauma
yeah,
because of just suppressing them
yeah,
that we don't even realize that they still affect us to this day.
and it's so true. It's so
And
true.
all you need to do is get with somebody that
Yeah,
is skilled enough, that is gifted enough, that is anointed enough, that can press that button that'll give you your freedom.
yeah, that's true. And I do
Promise.
want, and I do want to say this before we get out of here too.
Yes, yes.
Is while we were talking about what I was saying in the closing is I know early in the conversation I had said that you know people sometimes become product of their environment, and it does happen, but it's also a choice too. If you decide you're just going to be a product of the environment, and like I say,
A, a
yeah,
product, right?
yeah,
Okay,
a product of the environment. And
I got
I'll say this, and we can get out of here. Is that you know, as a child, like I said, I grew up all black neighborhood. I grew up and it was there was bums on the corner and stuff like that. And I had some guidance. I had my grandmother, I had my father, but I also had to take personal responsibility to decide that I'm not going to be on the street corner selling drugs, that I am going to finish high school, and I am going to go to college, which I did. I'm just a C student. I graduated with a 2.9, 2.8, almost maybe a 2.9, like a C average.
Mm.
Still got me 2 degrees. I got a bachelor's and an associate's in film production, in the arts. And, you know, and here it is 20, 30 years later, 25 years later, I'm actually still in the industry that I went to college for. And it's all because, like I say, I made a decision. I'm from the hood too. Check.
Right.
I came from my mom. I don't want to say I came from a single parent home because I still had my grandmother. But if you were gonna call it what
I
it is, I came from a single parent home too.
right,
Yeah,
right.
just my father. So I check, check, check. I had drugs around me too. Check. You know, and I still made a decision that look, I'm going to do this, and I did it. You know, so that's all I want to leave everybody with. And let them remind the ladies, go easy on the brothers. We've been traumatized our whole life, so be patient with us. Tell us at the beginning
Okay.
that you got us and that we could be vulnerable. And I promise you, the rest of your relationship is going to be a little bit smooth, a little bit more smooth sailing. The odds are going to be in your favor.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it, y'all. Mr.
Yeah.
Antwan Smith has blessed us tonight with some
Thank you.
words of wisdom. I'm talking about dropping jewels left and right. I couldn't even catch them all. God, some of them. Good Lord. But thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you. This has been such an honor, such a
No,
privilege,
thank you. It's my
such
honor. Thank
an
you.
honor. It's such a privilege to have you here and being vulnerable. You did it.
No,
You
thank you.
see,
Thank you.
you can
Yeah.
do it.
Hey, you was my
Y'all
first.
put some hearts in the
You
chat right
you
quick.
was my first session. You was my first session.
Y'all put some hearts in the chat right quick for Mr. Antwan Smith, y'all. Y'all show him
Thanks.
some love.
Yeah, and I want to thank for everybody who tuned in. I had some friends and family and colleagues I told to tune in. They're probably going to catch the later broadcast as well too. And your regulars that tuned in, I appreciate. They watched us for a couple of hours,
Yeah,
and thank you.
literally.
Yeah, and thank you for inviting me in and listen to me in my session, my therapy session with you. I appreciate you for that.
This was not a session. Okay, yes, it was. Like
Yeah,
it was a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little
yeah,
touch, just a little touch.
yeah.
But
What's up?
yeah, this was absolutely amazing, and I'm so
Yeah,
grateful. And we got to do this again on a different note, something totally different. Maybe even a panel of people. This could
yeah.
literally go anywhere. So you guys, that is all. But before you go, you know how I does. You know how
Mm-hmm.
I do. I have got to give somebody the opportunity to be introduced to my father who loves me when I was unlovable, who never left me, never forsake me, never put me down, only lifted me up, even when I deserved to be put down. Okay?
Amen.
When I tell you that God is a good God, I'm not saying it like a cliche. I'm saying it because that's what it is.
Amen.
My God is a good God because
That's
he
right.
found me in the pit and he did not leave me there. I
That's right.
promise you. If I could give y'all a glance at my past, I should not be here. So if he did it for me, I promise you, he will do it for you. But you have to let him in. See, my daddy's a gentleman. He's not going to force you. He will extend an invitation. It's up to you whether or not you want to accept it.
That's right.
So if you want to be introduced to this God who is so amazing, so loving, so nurturing, so caring, will pick you up, dust you off, and make you new, I want you to repeat this prayer with me. And the best part about this is we on live. Can't nobody see you. I ain't calling you to no altar and telling you to tarry, talking about some G. No. All you gotta do is wherever you are in the comfort of your own home, your car, your job. If you're listening on a radio station, repeat this after me. If you don't mind, Antwan,
Yeah.
helping me, I would really appreciate it.
Okay.
Repeat after me. Lord
Okay.
Jesus,
Lord Jesus,
I believe in my heart
I believe in my heart.
and I confess with my mouth
I confess with my mind.
that you are my Lord
You are my Lord
and my Savior.
and my Savior.
I believe you died
I believe in God
and rose on the third day.
and rose on the third day.
I receive you now.
I receive you now.
I am now in God's
Now in God's hand, you say?
family. And the church said, Amen.
Hey. Thank you. Thank
If
you.
you prayed that prayer, welcome, 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 welcome. There are a cloud of witnesses that are cheering you on. What do you do now? Just keep walking.
Amen.
Just keep walking. You're not going to be perfect. It didn't take 24 hours to be who you are. It's not going to take 24 hours to undo everything that's been done to make you. All right, y'all. Find you a church home that's going to love you and not hate you. That's going to lift you and not drop you, build you and not tear you down, give you truth and not feed you lies.
That's right.
All right, y'all. And be gentle with yourself. Give yourself a break. It's okay to not be okay.
That's right.
It's okay if you fall. It's okay if you have pitfalls. What's important is what you do after you fall.
That's right.
Get back up, dust yourself off, and try it again. All right, y'all? And please don't forget, y'all know my mantra. No matter what anybody says about you, what anybody thinks about you, you just keep shining. I
That's right.
love y'all. I appreciate y'all and have an amazing night. Mwah.
All right. All right.